And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us worldwide, Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, we appreciate you being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world. We are, of course, here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill here with us in the community, and we cannot thank them enough for all that they do, led by Dan Palladino, the entire team at Heritage Hill Brewhouse out in Pompey on Sweet Road in the rolling hills of central and upstate New York, and then right by the airport, and so many pieces of our community kind of all converging in one place here in that very, very high traffic area of Sweetheart Corner, which is yet another place in our community that is rich in history. Right there at Sweetheart Corner at 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, you will find Heritage Hill North, and you'll find Wake Up Call there tonight. We'll be on site on location at Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse tonight, May 23rd at 6 p.m., featuring for the first time ever the CNS North Stars girls flag football team. So we look forward to seeing you out there at Heritage Hill. With that being said, we got a jam-packed show here today with three incredible guests inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. We're going to start off the show with Dave Pasiak joining me once again to speak on the NBA playoffs. The last time we talked, we were getting to this moment. Now we're in this moment. The NBA Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the Celtics, and the Western Conference Finals between the Timberwolves and the Mavericks. And then in the first hour, we'll be joined on the West Coast from Darius Kelly. Darius Kelly, Syracuse and NFL defensive back alum, who is just named the Saguaro Sabercats head coach for their high school team. Very excited for his opportunity now. It's with Saguaro right out in Scottsdale, Arizona. So we'll be speaking with Darius Kelly this morning, and we're going to round out the show in hour number 2 with Papa Joe, who joins us every Thursday, as PJ and I will talk about the changes in the NCAA that I brought up yesterday, as well as the Preakness, horse racing, PGA, and Scottie Scheffler, and all of that craziness that we talked about to start the week, and we'll get into Major League Baseball as well. So with that being said, it's time to bring on our first guest of the day, and that is Mr. Dave Pasiak. Mr. Pasiak, how we doing?
Doing great, Dan. How you doing this morning?
Doing well. And Dave, since the last time we spoke, you turned a year older. So happy birthday.
I appreciate that.
And, you had the opportunity to come back here into the community and have some fun. Do you have anything that you do that's like a tradition for your birthday, whether it be something you eat or somewhere you go? I know you're back here in New York. Is there anything you do for your birthday?
Usually just, grab dinner with my family, my immediate family and everything. Last few years, we're Polish descent, so we've gone over to Eva's and Salve for dinner, have kind of traditional Polish food. Great place, by the way. Totally unsolicited endorsement, but if they want to give me some NIL money, that would be good. Typically that's, get together with, it's usually right around the time I get back to New York for a little bit in the summer from Vermont. So usually a lot of years it's like, either Mother's Day or my birthday, but one of those two ends up being our first get together in a while when I get back here. And like I said, we usually catch dinner and just spend some good time together.
Yeah, and obviously it's important to have those moments with our loved ones, get to spend some time. And I know that you're looking to get yourself out on the golf course sooner than later. Has the golf game gotten better over the years, Mr. Pasiak?
Well, the golf game this time of year stinks.
Okay.
Haven't gotten out that much just yet, just with everything with school. But, getting into the summer, I get into a routine a little bit where I go play early in the morning a few times a week, which is nice. Get walking in and just get a little quiet with the deer on the golf and the animals and all that on the golf course, kind of quiet and peaceful early in the morning. So usually golf is a funny thing. You get playing a little bit, and then my game gets to where it's fairly respectable, and then lo and behold, it's the end of the summer and time to, get back to work in the grind and everything, and the clubs go away. So it's a little bit cyclical. The good thing, though, about celebrating a couple more birthdays is now I'm old enough to play from the senior tees if I choose. So that's a little bit good for the scorecard on some courses.
Yeah, and I think in any worlds, I think when nobody's watching, people play from the tees they want to play from anyways. So, but Dave Pasiak here with us this morning, longtime basketball head coach, and of course a fantastic mind when it comes to the great game of basketball. So, Dave, as we take a look at what's going on here in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, we're going to start in the East. I know that you're upset, obviously, as a Philly fan, that we are not seeing the Sixers here. I'm upset at the fact that the Raptors... I'm not upset. It's just it was one of those frustrating moments, and like you called it, purgatory on the show here, that the Raptors were in a place where they were making the postseason, but they weren't doing, really anything once they got into the postseason. So it was, do they start rebuilding and whatnot? So they're in that place. The Philadelphia 76ers have had different iterations of their team, but it hasn't come to be a championship. So now in the East, the teams that we have seen rise all the way to the end are the Indiana Pacers, as well as the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, the usual suspects. The Indiana Pacers, a team that people are obviously happy to see here and happy to watch move forward and have this opportunity, as they're the atypicals. So what's your take on where we're at right now as far as the NBA's East side of things? Are you surprised at all? Are you not surprised at where we currently sit as these two teams duke it out and obviously had a really close matchup to start things off?
Yeah, not surprised as far as Boston. They've been arguably as good as anybody in the league all year. Talented team, and they've kind of followed the traditional NBA trajectory where you have to kind of endure the struggle to finally get to the championship. And if you go back through NBA history, there's been everything from LeBron James to Jordan getting past the Pistons to Bird Magic to the Pistons having to get by the Celtics back in the day. There's been a history in the NBA of teams having to endure. Your Raptors were a good example, having to endure the struggle and get past the next round of the playoffs. And the Celtics kind of embody that, and I think they're really well positioned to win a championship. Versus the Pacers and really the rest of the playoff field. And it is a different NBA because it's been 6 years in a row that the defending champ hasn't gotten to the past the second round, and that is really a different term for the league versus most of its fairly recent last 30 or 40 year history. But in terms of the Pacers, I think they showed, if you go back to the to the in-season tournament where they reached the championship game, I think they showed glimpses of a team that could make a big leap forward this year. Then they got a little bit derailed. Halliburton got hurt mid-year. I think he's just now getting kind of back into the form that he had first half of the season, where he was kind of one of the emerging stars in the league in terms of an all-star and player that was making a really big jump. So I think Indiana was the best offensive team in the league during the regular season, and I think that has really that's borne fruit for them in the playoffs, where they have had stretches in both of their first two series where the last game where they beat the Knicks. I mean, when you play that well offensively, there's really not a whole lot the other guy can do to overcome that. And so they're a really dangerous team in that regard. On the other hand, Boston, Boston is not the Knicks. Boston is significantly better, more talented, more playoff season team than the Knicks. And the Pacers, I think, when this series comes to an end, I think they're really going to rue how they gave away game one. I mean, they all they had to do is get the ball in play with 6 seconds to go, and the game's basically over. Get the ball in play and make one free throw.
Yeah.
And didn't do that. had a little bit of a breakdown in coverage, so they don't foul. They give up the three to Brown, and the rest is history. And the Pacers in the Knicks series, they could have won both of the first two games in New York and didn't execute a little bit late in the game and gave those games up to the Knicks, and they were able to come back from 0-2 down. But against Boston, I mean, a team that has, like I said, been as good as anybody in the league over the course of the whole season. I think not capitalizing the other night is really going to come back to bite the Pacers. I think had they won that game, a lot of pressure shifts to Boston because they're the team that's supposed to win. There's been questions about Missoula almost since he got named the coach, whether he's the guy that can get him there and everything. So I think had Indiana closed that game out, it would be a totally different narrative in the series. But as it is, I would be very, very surprised if the Pacers are able to win that series.
Yeah, and you talk about a game like that, right? You talk about when you come into this game and the Pacers saying, hey, we gave it away. And, with 6 seconds to go, get the ball in bounds, like you said, make a free throw, and let's move on, right? Move on to the next thing. With a team like Boston, we look back on series, we look back on history. You're like an encyclopedia when it comes to basketball, Dave. So can you look at a moment like that in maybe recent history where a team that was not projected to win had a team that maybe was on the ropes early on in a series and didn't close out that game and it came back to bite them? Can you go back to a parallel that kind of maybe sticks top of mind?
Well, you can look back to the last round of this playoffs where Denver was on the ropes, dropping the first two at home, and then they kind of were able to right the ship a little bit. But I think going back in NBA history, you look back to to where the Sixers had Boston on the ropes. It's tough to win. It's tough to win games, and I'll go all the way back to my Sixers. They had the Lakers on the rope back in the AI days. Went into LA, won the first game. Had a chance to really put their foot on the throat and didn't. And then Lakers came back and ended up winning the series in 5. There's examples of that all throughout NBA history. I think, the Pacers last round kind of bucked that trend. They had the Knicks a little bit on the ropes the first couple games. Knicks were able to pull the games off, and then Indiana went home and was able to hold serve twice. So, a lot of times, if you let that opportunity slip, you don't get another one. So,
yeah,
that's what I really worry about with the Pacers. And Boston's the fresher team now, too. You got to remember, Boston advanced pretty easily so far versus, they've had – the Celtics have tended to have one stinker each series, which, like, inexplicably, against Miami shot ridiculously well one game. So, they have had, same thing against Cleveland. They had, one stinker that series. But, so the Celtics, they're just, for some reason, have been prone to that. But, Indiana, I think Game 2 is really going to be a tall order for them. And then if they go down 0-2, I know they haven't lost at home in the playoffs and everything, but the Celtics are a different animal compared to, the people that the Pacers faced earlier on.
Yeah, and this Indiana Pacers team, we've seen different iterations of it over time and different guys that they've had and what it could be. Now, I remember growing up as a kid and the Indiana Pacers, to me, with Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller, those were some glory days, right? And to some people, the best days of Rick Smits and so on and so forth. And I felt very privileged to see that Pacers team. Is there something in this Indiana Pacers team that makes you believe that this could be a new, more positive era for them?
Oh, for sure. I think that, they're a really good young team. And some of the late game things, like we talked about the last game and the first two games against the Knicks. I think some of the late game things, that's just, youth and lack of playoff experience and whatnot. But they've got, like, Halliburton, I think this playoffs has been great as far as like a next group of emerging stars. Halliburton's certainly, one of those. I think they got a guy that, can be their centerpiece. They're close, and they've got Carlisle. I think is a proven NBA championship coach. One of the premier coaches in the league. Northern New York guy, actually, but so I think they're a team that they're certainly on the right trajectory, and if they can kind of keep things together, keep adding incremental pieces, I think they're a team that's going to be heard from in the near term. Now, we say that, and you go back to like the OKC, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook days. We thought that was a team that was going to be in the title mix for 7, 8, 10 years, and that got broken up. So
yeah,
that's the trick especially when you're in a little bit of a smaller market. Like this year, the Pacers, OKC, Minnesota, those teams all took really significant steps forward with fairly young rosters, fairly young cores and emerging stars. And, Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Gilgeous Alexander and whatnot. If they can keep those stars intact, keep adding pieces around them, on the surface, we think those are teams that are going to be heard from, for the next, 6, 7, 8 years in the NBA, but things have a way of changing quickly. That's what happened with that Thunder team. They never ended up getting back to the NBA Finals and ended up, decided not to retain Harden and then broke up Westbrook and Durant. And, those kinds of things tend to happen in pro sports and in the NBA, especially when you're dealing with salary caps and free agency and everything. So I think the future is really bright for the Pacers, but you always have to have that that little caveat back there that if they can keep things together.
Yeah, and like you said, we shall see. Maybe they can keep it together better than you can in college basketball nowadays, where the transfer portal allows free agency every year. And somehow that got even worse than the professional ranks, because sometimes contracts matter, sometimes they don't professionally. We've seen that. But ultimately, it's not as crazy as we've seen in college, and that's a story to continue on here later in the show. But to look on the Western Conference side, Dave, we have the Dallas Mavericks and we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. We were just talking about the Pacers and the Celtics. 133 to 128 in overtime. Really close game here that Boston ends up winning in Boston. Then that's on Tuesday. Then yesterday we have the Dallas-Minnesota game, which happens in Minnesota, and Dallas steals one on the road, 108 to 105. These games have been within 2 possessions, each of them, which has been an awesome way to see it. I'd love it if this is the series for both. What are your thoughts on the Mavericks and the Timberwolves?
Well, Minnesota's kind of the anti-Indiana. They were the top defensive team in the NBA over the course of the regular season. And they're a little bit unconventional in that they play big. But if you're going to play big, you got to play big. And, I don't know if anybody caught, in the postgame last night, but, Shaq and Barkley and whatnot, they were all over this, and they're 100% right, is Towns, is big but played small yesterday. And, he's got to be, they got Edwards and Towns, you got the 2 star players to, to play through and play around. You got to get better play out of Towns. And he's got to, Towns shot 9 threes last night and, basically negated, he was really content to play away from the basket and negated the fact that when he and Gobert are out there, they've got a significant size advantage. And, so I think that's something that they need to really look at and correct in the next round. I think Dallas, this is a really they've gone through the struggle a little bit too. They got to the conference finals recently and everything, and people forget Doncic is only 25-ish. But this could be kind of a legacy-defining opportunity for him. They got out, grab game one on the road, so now home court kind of tips in their favor. I think top to bottom and over the course of the season, you'd say Minnesota is the better team. Minnesota was near the top of the West, at or near the top of the West all year. But that said, you got Doncic and Irving, who's it's kind of an enigma, but he's proven to be a big game, big moment guy at various times in his career, especially in Cleveland. That duo can put the rest of that team on their backs, which they kind of have so far in the playoffs. So it's an opportunity for Doncic in particular. It's an opportunity for Irving in that he's got he can win a championship without LeBron, basically. But he's still like not the one guy. He's like the 1A or the number two guy. But for Doncic, it really, he's already looked upon as like one of the best players in the NBA and in the world. But if he is able to somehow elevate this team to an NBA championship, I think his perception and legacy and whatnot gets enhanced substantially. So interesting series to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, and we're going to be paying attention to it and following with Mr. Pasiak here as we go forward on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Do you want to make a prediction, Dave, before I let you go here? Do you want to lean on the Mavericks or the Wolves, the Celtics or the Pacers?
Yeah, Celtics, I would be shocked if Indiana wins that series, to be honest with you. I think Boston wins the East. The West, I think, is really, really a toss-up. I think the the Mavs winning game one probably tilts the scales to them slightly. So, I think, when in doubt, go with the best player, and the best player in the series is Doncic. Really, really close series. But I give a slight edge to the Mavs right now because they did kind of snatch home court. But in the East, I think Boston, I think will emerge from there.
All right, coming from Dave Pasiak. Dave, will be following through. The great thing about the NBA right now in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals is that since Tuesday, we have basketball every single day. Tuesday, Wednesday, tonight we have Indiana at Boston, Game 2. Tomorrow on Friday, we have Dallas at Minnesota, Game 2. And then we'll go to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and so on and so forth. So the beauty of this is there is one game to lock in on, and we have one every single day coming up here, which is going to be exciting. As always, I appreciate you. I'm happy that you had another trip around the sun, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon, Dave.
Sounds great, Dan. Great to talk to you.
All right, take care.
We'll see you. Bye.
See you. That coming from Dave Pasiak one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we're jumping right in to our next guest here inside the Heritage Hill studios. Heritage Hill is out at the Brew House in Pompey, and you'll also find them at their newest location on 628 South Main Street at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse. My guy is here with me right now, bringing him in picture from the West Coast, and every time we get to talk, it's a reminder to me of how much I missed it. And so now we have the opportunity of bringing him in here with us, and that is Mr. Darius Kelly. Darius Kelly, Syracuse and NFL defensive back alum, and now the new head football coach of Saguaro Sabercats out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mr. Kelly, how we doing?
Good, Dan. How are you, man? Good morning. Good morning.
I'm doing well. Did I get it right? Saguaro? Did I get it right?
That's right. A lot of people on the East Coast, they'll call it Saguaro, but no, yeah, you got it right, Saguaro.
Yeah, and the reason why that Hispanic blood, right? The GU is supposed to be a W, so that's how we got it here. But first and foremost, congratulations. This is a huge moment for you. I know you're pumped. I saw the release and just the pictures that you had, and I was like, this man different now. Different in a good way. Like, you've grown, but there's something to be said about the way that I'm seeing you in this new chapter where it looks like a man who's learned, who's grown, who's evolved, and who is ready for the challenge. Am I right on that?
No, I'd say you hit the nail right on the head with that, man. Just over the past few years, just getting to this moment, getting to where, I truly feel I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, getting to the moments where, having the times where I have the ability to start growing for myself and then pushing this towards these young men and getting to where they need to be. So I'd say you hit the nail right on the head, and I'm excited for the challenge for sure because it's definitely going to be a challenge, and I'm excited for it.
How did it happen? Bring me into how Saguaro was. How Saguaro was just the dominoes that fell because we've seen you play football. We've seen you at Syracuse. We've seen you transfer in, and then you had your days before Syracuse, then time in the NFL. Then we saw you have opportunities in coaching. So how did Saguaro happen? Bring me through all the steps that got us to where we are today.
Man, so I mean, originally, I just came to Saguaro just to be an assistant, just to help out, and no intentions of being in the position that I'm in today. I came here just to give back. I always wanted to be around football. I had moved to Phoenix, Arizona from Tucson, and said, you know what, I just want to continue to be around football. And then, started to work with the team and really truly grow my love for the game and start seeing, this is something I want to be doing for a long time. And a lot of things really did have to happen as I got there for this position for me to have to be in this position to have the opportunity to be here. And I truly believe that things just don't happen for a reason. And I truly believe that the only reason that I'm here is this God moved a lot of things, and God made a lot of things have to happen for me to be here. So with that being said, again, just came here as a volunteer to help out. A couple of coaching changes had to happen. Our head coach ended up taking a job. He ended up with the Seattle Seahawks as he is right now.
Yeah.
One of our other coaches ended up leaving, and then other positions just opened up, and I said, you know what? I actually told one of my old coaches. He asked me, "What do I want the job?" And I said no originally. I really did. And then I sat and thought about it for about a week, and I told myself, this is something that an opportunity that I should probably to look at, and opportunity that I should truly dive into it and see where it takes me. So I threw my name in the hat. Had a couple of interviews. Just going through the process is just telling everybody, if I get the job, if not, if it's cool, we'll get this thing. And then they started getting to the final interview, and things just started getting real.
Yeah.
And the questions started getting realer, and opportunity seemed like something that will be where it needs to be, and had that interview, and I had a full panel, and I answered all the questions the right way, and had an AD who truly believed in me, and a principal, and a full panel of people in a district who believed in my vision, my story, and where I wanted to go with the program. And it just fell into place. And ever since that day, it's been hitting the ground running, and then going. And a lot of challenges have come along the way, but that's just who I am as a person. I'm just going to go after every challenge every single day, and have that mentality. So the way I was brought up, the way I was coached, the way I was taught as a person, my parents taught me these things, and I'm just excited for it. And it just, again, back to the original question, the only reason I'd say in this position, God had to move a lot of things out of the way, and a lot of things had to happen for me to be here. So I truly believe I'm here for a reason, and I'm really going to truly cherish this opportunity, and really go after it with everything I got, because I know it wasn't for any reason but the man above that I'm in this position for sure.
Yeah, and Darius, I mean, you and I love this, and I miss our conversations because I know we're only a phone call away and a text message away, and that we're always linked, right? As soon as we talk, we're right back up with it again. But what I love so dearly is that you give it up to the man. You give it
Mm-hmm.
up to God all the time. It's not about how great you are. It's not about how awesome the things that you do. I know you work hard. I know you have your brand and who Darius Kelly is and what you're about and what matters to you, and you're a father. I know all those things, but you always go back to faith. And I just want to say, in today's world that desperately needs it, and granted, it's always needed it, but to hear a
Mhm.
head coach in today's world talk about faith so strongly, and to know that you have that avenue with your players, with your student athletes, where they can talk about it, they can feel open about it, they can appreciate beyond themselves. I just want to thank you for that more than anything else.
Sir, absolutely. I mean, it's the only reason I've gotten where I am today. I do know that, man. That's so I lean on that very heavily on a daily basis because it's got me through a lot, you know. So I truly do believe that.
Here with Darius Kelly on the announcement of him becoming the Saguaro Sabercats head football coach in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been out to Arizona. You
Hmm.
and I didn't get to hang out yet. We've had some thoughts in the past about this. I'm a Diamondback fan through and through, and they're in the studio right over my shoulder. So I'm all about the Diamondbacks. I brought my dad to we brought each other, I should say, to the World Series, and we went to Game 3. Incredible moment, Chase Field. Can't wait to go back. How
Hmm.
far are you from the Diamondbacks? Because I know Arizona is a big state. So what are
Yeah.
we talking about distance wise? And can we, the next time I go see the Diamondbacks, can I make it a dual trip of going to see my brother and going to see the Diamondbacks?
Absolutely, man. If I stood on the top of my roof, I would be able to see the stadium. So I'm about 8 9 minutes away,
Oh, wow.
9 minutes away from the stadium. And so it's not too far. The only thing separated is the highway and a couple of big buildings, but I'm not too far from it at all.
Okay. Well, then consider this a promise from me that by the grace of God, I will have the opportunity to travel across country again. And when I do that this season, that you and I will spend some time together and you can finally show me some Arizona.
Lock it in, man. Lock it in. I'm all in for that one.
And I want to
Got
know
to.
this too. While I'm there, would I have the opportunity to come around practice, be around the team, and see what the world's all about in Saguaro?
No question. No question. My doors for you are always open. That door is always open for you, Dan. That's not even a question. You already know that.
So, well, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I want to get into there's a bunch of things on my mind, but the first thing under God that is most important to me is life as a dad. So
Hmm.
I got my pup, I got little Miss Lily, but
Yeah.
I don't have a human running around here yet. So I got to ask you, what's life been like with Mini Me, and how's it been going?
It's been great, man. It's been amazing just seeing him grow, just seeing him grow into the human that he's grown into so fast. And I think that's the part that's like it's like slow down, you know, from when he was a baby to now walking around, you know, wearing my shoes, running around, talking, laughing, you know, jumping off couches, you know, wanting to cry and play football and do all these things. And you know, it's been amazing. I'm truly happy to be a dad. I'm truly happy to just be in his life and watch him do the things that he does on a daily basis, and you know, just see that young mind of his just grow so fast. And you know, it's amazing to see. Like I'm in disbelief on a daily basis when I see some of the things he does. You know, counting, you know, pulling numbers and running around and you know, informing his own personality and you know, seeing some of the things that how I am as a personality and his mom and you know, my dad is a family. Just seeing all this little human just rolled up into everybody, and it's just so cool, man. So I'm happy. I'm excited. I cannot, you know, I just want him to slow down, but I do want to see what he becomes in years to come. But it definitely is moving fast. I'm excited for sure.
And how old is he right now?
He turns 3 in August.
I was gonna say we're right around 3, so
Hmm.
that's crazy. That's
Yeah, it is,
absolutely
man.
crazy. Well, every single parent that I've ever spoken to, every one of them, has said to me that it goes by way too fast. So just
Yeah.
make sure that you enjoy those moments and take them in. And does it now, is he, have you, I mean, I know that this question's probably easily answered, but has he had a football in his crib since birth? And have you tried to position him for a future in football?
As best as I can without pushing it on him too much. But he definitely loves sports, loves playing with the ball, loves like he loves doing everything with the ball. There's no question. Just naturally, he just gravitates to it because I mean, we're always watching it, we're always doing it, always around it, and we're just a big sports family. So it's just easy for him to just fall in line with that. So the answer is yes, without trying to push him too hard towards it. Yeah.
Darius Kelly here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hills Studios. Syracuse and NFL defensive back alum and the new head coach of the Saguaro Sabercats out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Bring me into Saguaro and just what we need to know about the high school, about the program that you're now the head coach of. What are you most excited about with the foundation that is there at Saguaro?
Yeah. So just so a lot of people know, like I'm not sure if you know, we Sorrel is probably one of the smaller schools that we play in our division. So we play a 6A schedule, which is the largest schedule in all of Arizona. But we are a 4A school, and I think the with that a lot of people forget that we only have probably about 1,200 students at our school. And I think the biggest part with that is the academic piece and the way they take care of the student athletes that are there is pretty amazing. We have about, I think one teacher to 15-to-1 student ratio.
Yeah.
And, that's a big deal. It's a small school that is playing big time football. The school history from that, I mean, the school itself, we won 14 state championships. Um, and and I think a lot of that has to do with the administration. A lot of that has to do with some of the other coaches that have come through this building that really go after making sure these kids are taken care of from not only an academic standpoint but an athletic standpoint. So the foundation with that has been laid tremendously when it comes to making sure that there's a blueprint and plan to getting kids to the next level, and that is for one, preparing them academically and also athletically, putting them in opportunities to play against the best schools and best talent across the entire state of Arizona.
Yeah.
So that is truly one of the best, amazing things that I think that is different for us. We're a small school playing big time football with elite athletics, with a history of putting kids, both boys and girls, to the next level and set them up for life. And I think that is an amazing, unique piece with Saguaro, and it sets us apart from every other team that we play in our division on a weekly basis. It does propose some challenges, but because we are playing schools that have that challenge, because you're playing against the best talent every week, and then you're coming back to your classroom with 15 students opposed to 40 students, and you're being geared and you're being focused on to get to the next level while having those opportunities to play the best talent across the entire United States. So those are the things that are very unique to Saguaro, and obviously the history and all the alumni that have come through our building. It's just an amazing place, and I think we do a really good job of making sure we prepare these kids for the next level.
Gives you that connection, right? That personal touch and the ability to really get to know someone beyond a number. And that was always important to me in high school. It was important to me in where I decided to go to college, that I wasn't in a lecture hall of 300 people or 200, whatever, that I got to know my teachers on a very one-to-one basis and got to spend time with them. We speak so much on sports in this world, and we talk about wins and losses, but in the classroom, the fact that Saguaro offers that smaller class and more opportunity to really get the help you need and really understand the curriculum, just what that means to you.
Man, I mean, it means a lot. It puts these kids in, that someone cares really, that you're really thought about as, a person. And I think that having that opportunity, really sets you up in the long run because, you know, not just being that number and not just being someone who's just in the classroom, like it's teaching you to become that focused leader. It's teaching you to become someone that is truly, you know, you're learning those things that you need to learn on a daily basis and not just in that, like you mentioned, the lecture hall portion. So it definitely means a lot. And I really do try to take that approach, like you mentioned, and not just making sure everybody doesn't just feel like a number. I've tried my best to meet with every single one of our student athletes. And if I don't, I have probably met with them on a grouply basis and have that attention to them and make sure that every single piece in the room knows that they are important. And they are. That's the main portion for us. They are important. We are that small school, so every piece of every athlete, everything that is a part of our program is extremely important and delicate. So, just having that hands-on approach, and not just it's more targeted and going right after that student athlete and not just throwing bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. No, it's very targeted and making sure we're going after exactly what we want and how we want it, and it's direct. That's the biggest thing. It's direct and it's not, and it's very calculated with everything that we do, and it has to be because we can't necessarily miss. Because again, we are a smaller school, so every little piece counts, and that's what's made us successful. I'd say over the years is because of that focused approach of going after every single little piece that's in our program and making sure it is where it needs to be and developed and truly developed from a mental and physical aspect throughout the entire program. So yeah, it trickles down from athletics all the way down to athletic academics as well.
Yeah, we look at that, like you said, at the success that we've seen with this football program. Arizona State Championships, 14. 1995, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, 2011, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, and 23. What makes you believe that you're the right head coach for this program moving forward?
No, man, I think with just my passion, just my drive, just my want for these kids to be great. And number one, I just truly care about every single person, every single thing that is attached to this program. I definitely understand the task. I definitely understand the amount of effort that is put into it from, Stephen, you said all those numbers every year since then, understanding the alumni and the things that they've gone through to make sure that this place is where it needs to be. And I truly believe that that the reason I'm here is to make sure that every single kid and every single person that gets the greatest experience athletically and academically to get where they want to go. And, I've been in their shoes. I've been in their positions. I've done everything that they've, want and tried to do. And I truly believe that, with me being here, I can guide and lead these men, young men, and even the women in the building as well to get them to where they need to go and where they want to go and where they need to be in life. Because I've done it all. I don't necessarily say I know it all because I'm learning on a daily basis. And I think that's another piece as well that sets me apart is being humble enough to say I don't know it all and being humble enough to say, there's more I can do to make sure these guys be better, these kids get to where they need to be. And that daily growth aspect in my life and that I can project onto them to get where they want to go. And I truly believe that with that passion, that drive, and that want, and everything that I've done in life, I can push these guys to where we need to go and get to the next level in life and football. And that's the biggest thing is push them towards both of those things. And I'm truly geared for it, no question.
And you hail from Sierra Vista, Arizona. So, I mean, Arizona is home. what does that do when you said, you could talk to the men in the program and just, these young men in general and young women that are there at Saguaro at the high school about the fact that you've been through it, you've seen it, you went and you obviously grew up in Arizona, you played there, and then from there you went off to college, and then you know what it's like to transfer, you know what it's like to have an opportunity in the NFL. Having Arizona be home and coaching there, do you feel that every day? I mean, do you feel that kind of just like on your chest? Like when you wake up in the morning, I'm not only coaching, I'm not only connected to the game I love, but like this is my home state. These are my people. This is, I always think about, there's a line from Macklemore where he says, I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. And I would extend that out to, I got my state right behind me. Like when you rep Arizona and you're a head coach in the state where you played, and you're looking at these young men, and you were one of those young men not too long ago. I mean, what is that like for you to not only be coaching, but to be coaching in your home state?
No, it truly is amazing, right? I mean, like I said, I grew up in Sierra Vista, Arizona, right? And it's a small town, not too far from here. But it does do a whole lot, for those guys that have come out of that small town down there. They can look at things that I've done and look at the things that I've gone through and look at the things of where I'm at now. It truly, for me, it keeps me going because it makes me understand that a lot of people are watching you. A lot of people are looking at you on a daily basis, and for me, I can't let them down. And that just goes back to my why, and why I do things, and it truly goes back to that when someone is watching you and someone is counting on you to be the best version of you. It makes you want to be better on a daily basis. So it for me, it pushes me forward a lot faster. It pushes me forward a lot harder, and makes me want to continue to do what I'm doing and be a great example, because someone is watching and counting on me to be the best version of me. So it pushes me forward on a daily basis, and it makes me truly feel blessed and know that I'm right where I need to be.
What do you want to say to the alumni, to the current student athletes, to those that are coming in, to the future, to the now, and to those that help build so much success? What do you want to say to the community of Saguaro Sabercats?
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the alumni. Alumni, I just truly want to thank them for everything that they have done, every little piece that they have sweat, tears, blood, effort, everything that they put in there. I want to thank them and really let them know that I'm truly going to uphold the standard that they have created here, and I'm going to hold everyone to that standard and make sure that they're going after it with everything, every ounce of energy that they have in them, including myself. They're going to get the best out of me every single day because I owe it to them. And I tell my kids this on a daily basis. I owe it. We all owe it to the ones who have come through here before them, and you owe it to yourself. So I'll go to that, to the current student athletes. They owe it to themselves to be the best version of them. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I push them forward and make sure I get them where they need to be. To the community, I want this to be the tightest knit community. Come out to practices, come out to the games, come out to look at our social media, reach out to these kids and tell them your story. Don't hesitate to be an example, because you've all been there. You sat in those same seats that these kids are going through. So don't hesitate to reach out to these kids and give them a word of encouragement, because they need that. We all need that little word of encouragement saying, hey, I've been here, I've done that. I'm gonna show you what I've done, and they're gonna help you get to where you need to be. So to that community, just come reach your arms around this football team and come out to the practices, come out to the games, and we need your support. We really do. Again, I go back to the support where this is such a small community, and we're a national brand, but we're truly a small community, and we got to grow together, become a tighter knit community, because we can only go as far as we go as the smallest or slowest person with us. So let's do this together. And I'm truly excited for what the future holds. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that the standard is upheld and we go to where we need to be. But I want to do it together. That's the biggest thing. Together, we can do a lot more things in life and with this community. And I'm excited for that opportunity and challenge going forward.
Again, Darius, if I could say anything to the alumni, anything to the current student athletes, the future, to the community of Saguaro and beyond, I've known this guy for a bunch of years. And I don't know someone who has been more consistently good, somebody who has a passion, who wears his heart on his sleeve, who works tremendously hard, who gives so much of himself, who always makes time. It doesn't matter the hour, it doesn't matter the day. Darius Kelly to me is someone who I've had deep conversations with, I've had laughs with, and it's somebody that you root for. So when you have this coach, I understand you want to win, I understand you have history, but I want you to understand the Darius Kelly factor and what he brings potentially every single day, consistently every single day, to these young men and to the community in general. So, I mean, if I can publicly endorse somebody who I care about and who I respect, I value you very much so, and you know that. And it's gone over the years and wherever we are, and you're one of those people that's worth traveling across the country for. So go out to these games, support these young men, support Coach Kelly, support the staff, and let's see Saguaro make some amazing history in the here and now. But, buddy, I mean, you're one of those guys that every single day I just want to see happy. I want to see win, and I want you to be at the top of the mountain. And when you get there, I want you to strive for the next one. So, and to take a moment to take a deep breath and enjoy being on the top of that mountain. And I know there's plenty of mountains in Arizona, but I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate that, Dan. I really do. I really do. Likewise, man. I appreciate everything you do. I have done over the years. Man, every single conversation, every single talks and sitting down with you, they have truly been amazing, man, and they have touched me every single time. So I truly appreciate you and everything that you're doing. Keep going. Keep doing what you do. People are watching you, and you're truly being the best version of you on a daily basis. And I truly am happy to watch you do what you do and see you be happy and do your goal, go through your goals and dreams and aspirations and, living in your why on a daily basis. So keep going, man. Keep going.
I will. And I appreciate those words very much. We're gonna hit a couple rapid fires here because we always have to do this. So, Darius, you get the first question, and thank you for those kind words. I don't even know what to say back to you. I appreciate it. God is good. What's your first question for me?
Yeah. Have you looked up any restaurants out here? What was some of the good restaurants out here that you went to? Have you checked any of that part out? What was some of the good places that you hit? If not, I'll definitely send you a list when you come out here.
Yeah, give me a list. I definitely need one. But the hotel we were staying at had some really good food. And we ended up going there like we came out after the game and we just went back to the hotel and we got food at the restaurant and then we got breakfast there and the breakfast was awesome. So I can't even remember the name of the restaurant, but it was right in the hotel, but it was like it had outdoor, indoor, and it had this like door thing that opened everything up. And when you come inside, they made it look like they had all these lights inside, like around the bar and just in general, kind of looked like you were outside, inside. The outside had vines growing all through it. So it was maybe just a few minutes down from the stadium, but the ambiance was great and food was good.
Yeah, the food scene out here is pretty amazing. You'll be surprised. I mean, little pockets of places. So we definitely got to send you a list when you get out here, so you get some good places.
I need a list for sure. So I'm gonna hit you back with this. So if you had to pick just one place, what place would you bring me first for food?
Man, there is a place downtown that I truly think it has that Western type of feel. The food is super good, and I think it's very underrated. And it's right downtown. It's called Chico Malo.
Okay.
You know, the food has that Western tech. No, I wouldn't call it Tex-Mex at all, but that Western, you know, Mexican type of food, and it's like a high class one of those, and the food's amazing. You
Okay.
know, I think that's probably where we would go because it has a great vibe. You know, it has enough TVs for us to watch, and the food is amazing. So I think that's where we would go, downtown Phoenix. It's like right next to the stadium too. So that's what made me think of that place, and I think that's the place we would go, just off of the food and the vibe there for us.
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good with it. I mean, you don't have to sell. I mean, after being listen, I grew up a Diamondback fan in Syracuse, so it was like I was raised by wolves, right? It was like nobody understood me. And then I come out
Mm-hmm.
to an Arizona Diamondbacks game, and here's like 30, 40,000 people, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I was like, you know, these are my people. This is what it feels like to be around the fans, to be around the reality here. It's like Mowgli in the Jungle Book, right? It's like I'm out here, nobody looks like me, nobody sounds like me, and then you go see the Diamondbacks, and I'm like, oh, we're all wearing the stuff. We're all feeling the love. And by the way, my dog, I don't know any other dog that has this. When I went out to the World Series, she got a t-shirt, and it was the only one that was left. So she's rocking the Diamondbacks too, Miss Lily. What's your
Love
second
it.
question for me?
Love it. Now, so I mean, for you, you know, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. You know, if you weren't, you know, being a host and doing all these things that you do, what would you do? You know, what else would Dan be doing if this wasn't what you're doing? What is that for you?
Two things I'm working on right now: screenwriting and stand-up comedy.
I love it.
And
I can see
Darius
it.
already knows some of these jokes over the years. And I told Darius at a restaurant on Erie Boulevard back in the day, I said, man, we were talking about some stuff, and I said, you know, I got stories to tell. So I definitely have some stories to tell, some fun to have. All I can say is thank you, dating apps. Thank you, crazy people. Thank you, weird situations, because you know it's going to make a lot of people laugh. So,
I can see it. I can see it.
so my question to you is, if I were to start in stand-up comedy tomorrow, would you come see me on tour? And what's the thing you want me to talk about? Like, what would you like to hear a joke about?
Would I be there? Yes, absolutely. Would be front row. I'll be the loudest, laughing, clapping. I'll be a bass fan in there, no question. Um,
Appreciate it.
you know, I would definitely want to get some jokes, probably about the older Syracuse days when we were back in the day, something along those lines. About when we first met in those days, it's when I was back in Syracuse, all that time. It
Okay.
would be some of the things where I would want to joke about it. To hear some things about some things of the past, things that we can all look back and laugh about. Um, would definitely be some things I would want to hear. And even I would want you to joke on me a little bit. How about that? That
Okay.
would I would want that. I would want to be the butt of your jokes because I would know they would be from the heart and like they would be not something that is trying to hurt me. So I
Yeah.
would be good with you clowning on me. So most people don't, when they go to comedy shows, they get scared that people will joke on them, so they don't sit in the front row. I would sit in the front row so you could clown on me. So just help me out from that. So that's what I would want.
Fair enough. And the people that
Yeah.
know in the past, the way that Darius Kelly's smile reminds me, I've told him this forever, reminds me of Kevin Hart. So, but he's a taller Kevin Hart, you know. So Kevin's like, I think Kevin said he's 5'5". I don't know, but you know, I don't know if you know this, but when I was down in Charlotte, I had an Uber driver, a sweet woman from Africa, and I said to her, I was like, you don't know me, I don't know you. I'm gonna throw some jokes at you. I'm just gonna say whatever, you know, that is on my mind. And you know, you're a total stranger and we don't know each other. So like if you laugh, great. If you don't, that's okay. So we're driving, she's laughing, we're on the highway, she's laughing. And then I said, I was like, hey, I know you're bringing me back to the hotel, but there's a Zaxby's on the way. So can you stop? And she's like, I got you. So we pull into the Zaxby's, and she looks into the mirror and her rear view mirror, and she says this to me. And I know like my lighting in here looks there, but I get dark because I'm Italian and Hispanic. So when I'm in the sun, I get to get back to my normal olive complexion. I call it tinted. And so she looked in the rear view mirror and she said this to me, and I'll never forget it. She said, "You know what?" She goes, "You're funny." She's like, "You're my caramel Kevin Hart." And I said, "I'll take it. I'll take it." I don't know about his life choices with the ladies and that, because I'm not going to speak on Kevin because I don't know Kevin like that. But, as far as jokes and as far as scary movies and his reactions to them, yeah, we're like on point. Like if you try to scare me, you put a ventriloquist or something in the house, I promise people this. I don't care how long we've known each other. I don't care what our friendship is like. If you bring any lifelike thing into my house that is in doll form, not only will you be sent out the house, but we're no longer friends anymore. And I've even learned you can't even burn the doll because the soul will go out into something else. You just that doll can't get in the house, can't blueprint my house, can't understand where I'm from. I mean, put it to you like this. My ex-wife had a doll that she told me she threw out before we moved into the house. And then when I was going through stuff, I found it in the garage, and we're not together anymore. So what does that tell you?
Gotcha.
I was like, you need to take this, let it case your joint. I don't want this thing seeing where I'm from, because if I put this down in the trash, it's already seen the house. It's got the blueprint. It knows how to get in. It picks the locks. I don't trust any of that stuff. So with that being said, Darius Kelly, your new head coach for the Saguaro Sabercats out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Darius, this is one conversation of many to come. As always, I appreciate you. I look forward to coming out and seeing you in Arizona. Congratulations on the job, and I cannot wait to see what you're going to do. By the way, I need to get myself some Saguaro gear now, and you need to get yourself some wake-up call gear, so we need to do a swap.
Absolutely. We got to.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Be safe, and thanks for waking up early with me on the West Coast.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
See you. That coming once again from Darius Kelly here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a quick step aside for a fast break. Papa Joe's coming up next inside the Heritage Hill Studios. So much to discuss. We've talked about the NBA. We're talking with Darius Kelly on his new opportunity to be the head coach for the Saguaro Sabercats out in Scottsdale, Arizona for their high school football program. And now Papa Joe and I are going to talk about the NCAA, horse racing, Preakness while you freak this, the PGA, Scottie Scheffler, Major League Baseball. Oh my goodness. We're going all over the place here in the Heritage Hill Studios on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Stay with us. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday Thursday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you hanging out with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you know that it's Thursday, so you know that Papa Joe is here with us inside of those beautiful, wonderful Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill, where we will be tonight. Can't wait to see you tonight at Heritage Hill. Always looking forward to this. And we'll be out at Heritage Hill North, which is on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse tonight, Thursday, May 23rd at 6 p.m., making history with the CNS girls flag football team in their first season of existence. Happy to have the North Stars out with us at Heritage Hill North. And, of course, our wonderful Heritage Hill partnership, our exclusive studio partnership, extends out to Heritage Hill Brew House as well, which is out in Pompey. And when you're going through the Syracuse Hancock International Airport, you can visit Palladino Farms for Heritage Hill as well. So, with that being said, PJ with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. PJ and I got some things to talk about. One of the things I brought up on yesterday's broadcast, which is the NCAA continuing to change, and it's just an interesting road. We'll talk about the Preakness while you freak this. Mystic Dan, my guy, made it to number 2. Didn't win it. Sees the Gray is the one who won the Preakness, so we'll talk about that. We'll get into Scottie Scheffler and a really interesting incident that we brought up earlier on in the week, and the PGA Championship, and Xander winning his first ever PGA event there, and then we'll get into Major League Baseball. So a lot of great stuff coming up with Papa Joe. Let's bring him in. P to the Jizzle, J. Edgar Twizzle. How we doing, PJ?
Fine, Daniel. Everything's fine.
So let's get into the NCAA. There's a situation now where we have seen some things go on, and a good morning to Bobby, and as well as thank you for the kind words from Jerry to Coach Darius Kelly. Bobby, definitely miss you and look forward to talking with you soon. And hope to have you on the show soon as well. I know Bobby's out there chasing his dreams in the football world, and I appreciate you very much so. So looking at the NCAA and what's going on right now, the House versus the NCAA, the Big 12, the ACC joined the Big 12 in trying to figure this thing out. And really what it amounts to, what it trickles down to, is that there is now an opportunity for student athletes to literally get paid, to not have the NIL road where they're seeking individual. They will have that, but on top of having name, image, and likeness, there is now something going on in a court case where if it rules in favor, we could see conferences having to allot money. Well, institutions within conferences that agree to this, that the institution will have to allot money, and depending on what conference you're in, how much money is that going to be, and schools will have to come up with millions of dollars to share with their student athletes, and we will see an actual pay-for-play system, which would take the amateurism out of collegiate athletics. I said 6 years ago that 5 to 10 years from that point, the NCAA would either look different if it exists at all. I said the NCAA 5 to 10 years from now is either going to be very different than what we know it as, but it may not even exist. And now we're at the 6-year mark of that prediction that I made, and it looks very different. and I still question if it's going to exist. PJ, what are your thoughts on what the NCAA has become and the fact that if these conferences win, we're going to be looking at a world where student athletes are going to be paid as professionals?
They're going to be paid to play, Daniel. They won't be going to school.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. This is huge. This is monumental. Although I haven't seen the SEC come forward yet, but it is said down here that they will be agreeing with the Big 12, the ACC, and the Big 10. So I don't know how you can approve the terms in favor of settlement that would allow schools to pay players. I don't know how they can do that. There is no amateurism anymore. These kids come out of high school, they think they're pros. They want to go play pro. So the NCAA succumbs to that and says, well, we'll figure it out. And all of a sudden they got to come up with $2.7 billion to the rest of the athletes and still get their NIL. You tell me what's the matter with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's money on top of money. I'm all for student athletes having an avenue to make some kind of money, since the NCAA makes billions of dollars off of them, and the schools make so much money off of them as well. So, my argument in favor of making something is that these student athletes, most of them, will never play professionally. And if they're never going to play professionally, then I would like there to be a world where they can make some money while they're in college instead of people just making money off of them. So I'm all about there being a path for student athletes to be able to make something. My issue is the fact that we're not talking about education. It's long been believed that at certain institutions or within certain conferences, education didn't matter. And now, where it was a believed thing, but not a proven stamp, the world that we're walking into now would be a stamp. It would essentially be a stamp on it's not about education anymore. It's not about going to class. It's not about caring about your future beyond sports. It's about just making money and who can make the most money. And I mean, listen, again, I want to be clear that student athletes should be able to make something, because the overwhelming majority of them will never play professionally. So I'm all about that in some way, shape, or form. But I'm about having parameters. The NCAA's lost control. They've lost control. And my prediction that I made 6 years ago is past that thing. I said within the next 5 to 10 years, that was a statement I made 6 years ago. Within the next 5 to 10 years, the NCAA will look different. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to look drastically different if they exist at all. Those were my words. That was what I was talking about. And since I made that prediction, we've seen name, image, and likeness. We've seen the COVID-free year where you get a bonus year, and we got quarterbacks that have played on that have been in college for 6 seasons. So we've seen that. We've seen the NIL. We've seen the transfer portal create free agency. There's no 1 year in residency. There's no 2 years in residency for conferences. Then they came up with there's no year in residency. You can transfer and play right away the first time. And now they got legislation where you can transfer and play right away whenever. You can transfer the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and you don't have to sit out. So there's the free agency of college athletics is worse than the pros. There's no control on the money. And now you have a pay-for-play system. So I'm essentially looking at college drastically changing, like I predicted, but changing in a way that is not having the gates that we see in the pros. You don't see Trevor Lawrence playing for 4 teams in 4 years in the NFL. And it's gotten to a point now where you can do whatever you want, go wherever you want. Now you're going to try to pay the players, plus they're going to make NIL money. Where is the team in this? Where is the school in this? Where is the education in this? Where is the teaching life skills in this? I mean, you're going to take a 17-year-old coming into college, you're going to hand him $1 million after never playing it down collegiately. You're going to give him $1 million contract to be the quarterback of South Carolina. And then the Gamecocks are going to go out there, and if they go 4-8, he's still got $1 million. Plus, the school's going to pay him money, and then he can transfer from South Carolina to Florida to Syracuse to Kentucky, play in 4 schools in 4 years, maybe have 20 credits at the end of it all, be nowhere close to even being a one-year student, let alone have a degree, and then they're going to leave college, and if they save their money, great. If they didn't, they might end up leaving college with no diploma, no future, no plan, and no money, like they never went there.
That's right. That's all right. So what are we talking about? We're talking about these kids being free agents. I mean, like you said, a 17, 18-year-old kid, he's going to be a free agent. Now, how in the hell are parents going to adjust to that? I mean, a lot of parents, including my own and your own, busted our ass to put our kids through school when it's very expensive, especially in Florida, $50,000 a year, you know, for $200,000 education, which they get. Now they get money on top of that, money on top of that, money on top of that. The problem I have is that they're not going to graduate college.
Yeah.
As it is, the college graduation rate is so low, I don't even want to talk about it. In some of the SEC schools, it's abysmal. So you can throw this on top of it. These kids are going to say, well, I can play around for 3 or 4 or 5 years, make money, and go out and do something else without a diploma. That's the way they're going to think, Dan. That's the way they're going to think. You know that. That's the way they're going to think. It's unfortunate, but whatever.
I mean, I wish, I would love it if the NCAA would do something that resembles education, something that resembles knowledge and wisdom. The NCAA is really good at making money, but they're really terrible at building these parameters and making sense. There's no fence on anything. Pandora's box is open. The NCAA is literally pushing itself out of existence, and I don't even know if they know that. And, you know, we're at a time going through the COVID pandemic and this, that, and the third, where there's colleges and universities that are closing. And now you're going to ask these colleges and universities that already are pushed beyond their limits to come up with millions of dollars to pay their student athletes every year. And where's that going to come from? Where's that money going to come from? How is all of this going to work out? See, this is the problem with America right now. You're taking people, institutions, businesses that are pushed beyond their means, and you continue to push them beyond their means. They're not going to be, if they can't pay you off from last month and last year, and you keep putting money on there, the grocery store prices need to go down. The gas prices need to go down. You can't ask a school to come up with millions and millions of dollars when they're trying just to stay open. The reality of it all is, I don't understand the American system. Capitalism is about having the opportunity to make your own money, keep your money. Now, granted, there's taxes, but to be able to have no ceiling, to be able to grow, to be in a free community where you can chase your dreams and you can go after what you want to go after, and you have freedom of speech and you have freedom of religion and freedom to be who you are. The American dream is not being showcased right now in America. This is not the American dream. The rich are fine. The middle class is being pushed again. And essentially, you're making a rich class and then just different factions of poverty, of poor. Because the middle class, who's supposed to keep everybody together and keep everybody going, and they're supposed to help this and help that, the gas prices, the grocery prices, now the school stuff and the education and all. And then on campuses, there's protests going on and they're canceling graduations. We need to have leadership in this country, and it's not just the president. We need to have leadership in this country at the national level, the state level, and the local level that understands that before COVID and during COVID and since all of this, we have been pushed beyond our means. And we need somebody to help to bring us back, to lower our prices, to help each other, to bring more security, more confidence, and more of a community-based, unified effort to move forward. We do better together. We do better as a community. And we need to have leadership at every single level that is not looking to pass the buck to somebody else, but to actually alleviate some of the stress. And on the big picture level, we're seeing it with colleges. We might see it with this ruling. And this is what I don't like, is that we're living in a society right now where people that are rich just keep salivating at becoming more rich, as opposed to a community where people are struggling and pushing and trying and chasing their dreams, being punished for doing those things. And that's not fair. So the leadership needs to change. We need to evolve as a country, and we need to remember the ideals that we base this country on at every single level, including at colleges and universities.
Well, I have a solution for these boys if they want to sit down at the table and figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're going to give these kids money, and you want to give them an education, and they're going to have to earn money from NIL, then put a rider on the school, make them sign an agreement saying that, okay, I will agree to complete 12 semester hours if I can earn my money from you, not including NIL. So it's got to hold the kids there for at least making the money from the NCAA, which they got almost $3 billion that they got to divvy up. Keep the kid in school by putting a rider on an agreement. It's simple. If they don't do it, then they don't come. They go to some other. They'll go to a small school or something.
Yeah. Well, no, it makes sense. Connect education to it. There was the notion of, take this NIL money or take whatever money or whatever you're going to be doing and put the money in a pot and say, if you stay for a year, then, you'll get this X amount. If you stay for 2, if you stay for 3, you get to take it all out. To have a system where they're not just getting this money, but the money's connected to the education. Because what people seem to fail to understand, number one, a free education, that's wonderful. I never had a free education, no matter how many scholarships I got. And I got a lot of scholarship money, and I worked my butt off. And my parents still had to pay, and I still had to pay student loans. So a free education is something that cannot go understated. And on top of having a free education, the reality that no matter how good you are or how good you think you are, again, I'm all about student athletes making some kind of money. And I'm all about them getting something for their name, image, and likeness, since people take advantage of their name, image, and likeness for decades upon decades now. But I need there to be an education, because if you're not educating people, you're not giving them the tools they need to succeed in life. And they may have a great few years. They may make a lot of money, but at 26, 30, 34, they're going to be on their butt in the same neighborhood once again. And I don't want to see that. So there has to be something, and I agree with Papa Joe, there has to be some type of rider, some parameters set in place saying, yeah, we're going to pay you whatever, or yeah, you get this NIL money, but we're going to put it in a bank account. And the more, and it's going to be tied to education, where you can take so much of this out. Or how about this? Like, if you stay for 1 year and then you leave, you got to wait 4 years to take the money out. Or you got to wait 2 years to take the money out. If you stay 2 years, you only got to wait a year to take the money out. Something like that, where we essentially teach them savings. Teach them what it is to make money but put it away. Kevin Hart had a... Kevin Hart had a really...
Can go to school. If you want the money, go to school.
Right.
If you don't want the money, don't come here.
Right. I think there's got to be something with the colleges where, they should only have to pay a percentage. If somehow this gets passed, that these schools have to divvy up money, that, it says, okay, to somebody who gets their education, they're going to get X amount of percent. To somebody who stays for a year, they're going to get less. Because if you're paying somebody the same amount who's going to be there for a year, and you're going to pay them the same as somebody who gets an education in 4 years, that's not fair to that person that put obviously more work in to the classroom. So there has to be some type of system where it's promoted that you actually get an education. Essentially, I feel like they're begging kids to go to school and stay in school, which is just disgusting to me, because my years in college taught me a lot of things about life, and it taught me about adversity, and it taught me that even teachers cannot be trusted at times. And I had to learn the hard way about the reality of life and protecting yourself and keeping a paper trail. And, I want to thank my teachers that taught me with goodness in their heart. And I want to thank my teachers that were the opposite human being that I would ever aspire to be, that taught me a lot of things about the real world that I learned at an early age. So we got to figure it out, but there needs to be parameters. It needs to be tied to education, and there needs to be some type of control on this thing, because the NCAA is making a ton of decisions, once again, with really no rhyme or reason to anything that they're doing. PJ, Preakness while you freak this, Seize the Gray won, and I believe you picked them, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh, I thought you picked Seize. Oh, yeah. So Seize the Gray won. Mystic Dan, my horse of choice, came in second, so did not win the Triple Crown after winning at the Kentucky Derby. But your thoughts on the Preakness? We saw only, 7 horses run?
Yes, I think there were 7. The one horse, Muth, M-U-T-H, was scratched because they had a fever. That's about one of Bob Baffert's horses.
Yeah.
The Preakness, of course, changed considerably when the rains came. If you're not a gambler or you don't understand track conditions or anything like that, what I'm going to say you probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is when you're gambling. When you have a wet track the way the Preakness did, unfortunately for the fans, they probably could have had several thousand more people there if it didn't rain, but that's just the way it is. I mean, if it's not a hurricane out there, the horses are going to race. So anyway, you get to the race and it's a wet track, and now you're looking at the past performances of the horses, and the first thing you're going to look for is a mutter, and that's a horse that works out well or races well in the rain or in the mud, and usually those horses are horses that show early speed. Now, with a race like that, a mile and 3/16, or the Derby mile and a quarter, the Belmont a mile and a half, cut back to a mile and a quarter, usually like to play horses that come from behind. My horse, Tucson Gold, is a come from behind horse from Chad Brown's stable. He wasn't going to make it that day because it's wet, and the horses floundered a little bit. They want to make up ground. They floundered a little bit. So what you do is you look for the speed. Seize the Gray was the only horse that showed early speed in his forms. A couple of races that he won. This isn't a slouchy horse. This is a nice horse, and he still paid 9-1 odds. He seized the lead. No pun intended. He seized the lead, and he set his own fractions. And the rest of the field was just behind him, and they're all trying to figure out what they want to do. The jockeys are saying, well, if the jockeys had ridden on the course before, usually in previous races, 1 through 10, I think, then they would know what the situation on the track is. And they can tell their trainers, look it, hey, we ain't going to make it today unless we get up front. So, Wayne Lucas, being the sly old devil that he is, he says to the jockey, Jaime Torres, he says, hey, set him to the front and let him catch us. Case closed. He went to the front. No one could catch him. He wins the Preakness. Hats off to him.
Yeah, and so the Preakness won here by Seize the Gray, and a Mystic Dan getting the opportunity here and coming in second, which to me, very proud to see what he's done. It's hard to win. It's hard to find ways to, even get after you win to be close to winning again. So I don't take anything away from Seize the Gray, and I don't take anything away from Mystic Dan. So very excited for what's coming up here and looking forward to everything that is to come here on with horse racing moving forward here in the future. We got some big news coming up here in just a few minutes. I do want to let people know. So PJ and I are going to talk about PGA right now. We're gonna give some thoughts here on the PGA Championship. Xander winning his first ever major event here, and we're gonna talk about it for a few minutes because then I have to make an announcement at 10:50. So let's spend just a couple minutes on this, PJ, and then Wake Up Call will have exclusive breaking news in connection to Lemoyne College. So what do you want to say about PGA?
Well, the PGA PGA was conducted on a really good golf course, Valhalla, in Lexington, Kentucky. It's by no means an easy course. Let me tell you that. If you watched it, that's not normal, what they were doing. Unfortunately, the rains came through the area a couple of days before. And if you know anything about golfing, if you play golf on a wet course, you're going to knock the pins down, which means you're going to shoot for the pins. You're going to get good scores. So there was no forgiveness in the course. The course plays extremely easy, and when you're typically playing one of the major events, you think anywhere from 5 to 10 under par is a good score to win. Well, killing me softly was minus 21. And that's how easy it was for him and for the rest of these guys. They were shooting darts out there. It wasn't difficult at all, even in the rough. And of course, all the talk was about Scottie Scheffler and the unfortunate incident that happened before people even woke up. At 5 o'clock in the morning, he's looking to get into the place to do his exercising and everything, and go work out before he tees off at 10 o'clock. Well, unfortunately, let's put it this way, there was a person that was killed, a pedestrian was killed, a hit-and-run traffic.
Yeah.
And the whole area stopped, no one could do anything. And Scheffler was trying to ask his way through to go into Valhalla. He had his passes on, he had a car that says PGA player, and one overexcited policeman tried to hold him up, I guess. I don't know what he was thinking, but I know his little camera wasn't on, so therefore there's nothing to talk about from his side or from Scheffler. Look, if you're looking for good guys on the PGA Tour, Scheffler is it. I mean, the guy is, he's a good dude. There's no malintent at all. He's just not someone who should have criminal charges on his record. It's ludicrous to even think about something like that. He's not a thug. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. He's a golfer, loves his family. His wife just had a baby. Come on. Now, if I was the Lexington Police Department, I would put something in writing saying there was a misunderstanding at the point of concern, and that at this time we're going to reduce all the charges or eliminate all the charges from Mr. Scheffler. He's free to go and do what he wants to do. Or, they'll say, listen, our policeman did the right thing. We're going to do something with Scheffler, but we're not going to have a felony over his head, maybe a misdemeanor. I don't know. Scheffler's got to tell his attorney, look, solve it somehow. Give him $100,000 for the police fund, or something like that. But I got to get out of this because I'm golfing next week. It's unfortunate, Dan. Terrible situation. Overreacted by the policeman and misunderstood by Scheffler.
Yeah, no, it was a terrible situation, a very unfortunate situation, as you talked about with Scottie Scheffler. I spoke about it with Brendan Murphy on DT and Murphy to start off the week here on Wake Up Call inside the Heritage Hill Studios, and the death of a pedestrian being struck by a bus was really the thing above all of this that just sticks. And John Mills, 69 years old, of Crestwood, my prayers to all of his loved ones and to his soul up in heaven. And just a sad moment. And then everything that transpired from there and everything that went on from there and what looks to be a miscommunication, very unfortunate, but, more than anything, to feel for the family of John Mills and just pray that people are safe in their travels in all ways, shapes, and forms. And, hopefully get this Scottie Scheffler thing figured out. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. Major League Baseball, when we come back, a lot of great stuff coming up. You need to go to all of our social media right now, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, because I'm about to make a massive announcement, and I have the exclusive. It's coming up right now at 10:50 a.m. Eastern Time, so do not miss it. We're taking a step aside. Go to wakeupcalldt.com right now. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks comes to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. You'll find GG Cards and Breaks there 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You'll find hockey, basketball, baseball, football, soccer, AEW, all sport, as well as Disney Lorcana and UFC. You'll find Pokemon while supplies last. A lot of great stuff happening right there on site, on location at GG Cards and Breaks. They also have everything that you need for your collecting. So they have all different size top loaders for your cards. They have the sleeves to protect. They have the binders. They have boxes. So many great things. Literally, you could walk in there having never collected cards before in your life and walk out of there with all the supplies you need, and the boxes, as well as the singles, the graded cards, and the packs. Head in there today to try your luck and see what you can find in their packs and boxes, as well as go in there and look at their graded cards and look at the cards that they have there for you as well in the single area, and bring home your favorites that you know exactly what you're getting. GG Cards and Breaks tonight, Thursday, May 23rd, from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. is going to be hosting their monthly trade night on site, on location. So go out and see them at GG Cards and Breaks tonight. I appreciate them so very much for all that they do. I look forward to seeing you out there. And to GG Cards and Breaks, you know, folks, that you can truly experience the difference right there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I have a massive announcement. I'm making sure that we got everything up on our social media. It is now up on our Instagram. It is up on, so Instagram at wakeupcall_DT, X, the former Twitter, at CallDT, and Facebook at wakeupcallDT. Making sure that everything was set and ready to go this morning, as we got to release the exclusive breaking news that the Lemoyne Dolphins women's basketball program has found their new leader in Nick DiPillo. Nick DiPillo has worked at the NCAA Division I and Division III levels, as well as in the WNBA, including having head coaching experience when he was at the University of Scranton, leading the University of Scranton in multiple seasons to an overall record of 58-8, which is insane. And if you don't know the University of Scranton at the NCAA Division III level, they play in the Landmark Conference. And going to Marywood University and having the University of Scranton right down the road, the University of Scranton, basketball-wise, has been an absolutely incredible, phenomenal program for a long time. So to know he was a part of that program and had so much success is huge. He was also an assistant coach for the New York Liberty inside of the WNBA professionally. We've seen him at the University of Pittsburgh with the women's basketball program. We've seen him at Seton Hall with the women's basketball program. Most recently, he was at Bowling Green with their women's basketball program. Nick DiPillo, the new head coach of the Lemoyne College Dolphins women's basketball team. I am so excited about what this is going to mean. The women's basketball team has made it to the national postseason in all of their last 5 seasons of competition. They did not compete during the COVID year because the season was canceled. But beyond that, they have been out there, and this has just been a remarkable run for them. I'm very excited about what is to come with this women's basketball team at Lemoyne. I have covered them, obviously, very, very closely over the years, and I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful that Lemoyne has given me the opportunity to be their exclusive multimedia marketing partner and to be able to tell these stories like I get to tell this morning. If you'd like to read the story on Nick DiPillo, again, it's on all of our social media, Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, X at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Make sure you follow the link and read the story. It'll give you background information in our exclusive breaking news. We are the first to tell you that Nick DiPillo is going to be the Lemoyne Dolphins women's basketball head coach. Nowhere else in the world did you get this information first, and you're getting it from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. This gives you quotes, and I want to thank Lemoyne College for their assistance in this with writing this article and having the information. And that's being quotes from Lemoyne President Dr. Linda Lemura, as well as their athletics director, quotes from Bob Beretta, and background information that we get to share with you about the history of Nick DiPillo. And just for you all to know, to share this with you here, this is a look back on his coaching journey. He was at Keene University as a men's basketball assistant coach from 2003 to 2005. He was with the New York Liberty in the WNBA as an assistant coach from 2004 to 2009. He was Seton Hall University women's assistant coach from 2014 to 19, Scranton women's head coach from 2019 to 2022 with that 58-8 overall record. He was at the University of Pittsburgh for women's basketball as an assistant from 2022 to 23, and at Bowling Green most recently for 2023 to 24 as a women's basketball assistant coach. He also served in training and helping the future basketball players within this time period as well in New Jersey. He is a native of New Jersey, and so he attended college at Rutgers Camden, played collegiate basketball from 1999 to 2001 before transferring to Fairleigh Dickinson University, where he continued playing as a student athlete from 2001 to 2003, graduated from FDU in 2003 with a bachelor's degree in sociology. And you can read through all of his history as well as get his quotes, the quotes from Lemoyne President Dr. Linda Lemira and Athletics Director Bob Beretta, all by going to wakeupcalldt.com right now to see the exclusive breaking news article, Nick DiPillo to lead Lemoyne women's hoops. And I, once again, am honored to be able to share that with you today, and just super excited. So congratulations and welcome to the Finn family, Nick DiPillo. PJ, we got to break this news here on the show together this morning inside of the Heritage Hill Studios. So you got to hear some background on Nick DiPillo and just what your thoughts are in being able to break this news this morning.
Oh, that's great, Dan. I'm just guy. He's obviously a very accomplished person. Been around, knows his way around. When you're an assistant coach as many places that he has, you got a lot of knowledge. Probably with the WNBA too. That would the 5 years he spent there too. This looks like a no-brain, 100% right here. And Scranton, did you say 56 and 8?
58 and 8.
58 and 8. Oh my goodness, that's not even real. Wow. Well, let's hope that he can replicate that when he comes to Lemoyne. I'm sure he's got his own ways of doing things.
Yeah, so excited to see Nick joining the family here on this beautiful day and the official news of this. So very, very excited and very much looking forward to it. So shout out to him and shout out to his family, his wife who's coming into town, as well as his son. And with his wife, Kelsey, they have a 2-year-old son, and they have a daughter on the way who's expected in August. He also has another daughter, 16 years old. So shout out to the DiPillo family that's coming on the Heights to Syracuse, New York. And be sure to stay close to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for everything that's coming up. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, wakeupcalldt.com, youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT. There's a lot that's going to be coming up here, and you can be sure that when it comes to Lemoyne, as always, you will have the exclusive breaking news stories, as well as a place that has a connection to Lemoyne unlike any other, right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as their exclusive multimedia marketing partner. So, with that being said, PJ, give me your thoughts on the Major League Baseball world and what's going on in the standings and statistically where we're at right now.
Okay, well, it's things are starting to pick up a little bit here now, coming into the summer where the best baseball is played, and some teams that we talk about quite a bit are starting to separate themselves from the rest. So I'll just go through them and we can comment at the end. In American League East, the Yankees are 34-17 ahead of Baltimore, which is 29-18. Baltimore's 3 games back. The last 10 games picked up some ground for the Yankees. They were 8-2, while Baltimore was 4-6. Got a little separation there. In the Midwest, you got Cleveland at 33-17. Huge surprise this year. I can't say that enough, because if you heard me earlier, several months ago, I didn't give Cleveland a shot. They were 9-1 in their last 10 games. Kansas City is second, 32-19. They're 1.5 behind Cleveland, and they were 8-2 in their 9 games, in their last 10 games. The third position is Minnesota, is 6.5 behind. So you can see right now what's shaping up. Cleveland and Kansas City going to lock horns for the entire year probably. In the West, we got Seattle at 27-23, Texas at 24-26, 3 games behind, and Houston is finally coming awake. They're 22-28, 5 games behind. But the good news is that Houston was 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're starting to pick it up a little bit. Seattle was 6-4, and Texas was 2-8. So there's a little separation there between Seattle and Texas. Now, I mean, the National League, the team that's setting the pace in the National League and also in all of baseball has got the best record. It's Philadelphia. They're 36-14. Atlanta, 28-18. They're 6 games behind. Washington is 21-27, 14 games behind. So in all reality, this is over with. Philadelphia is 8-3, 8-2 his last 10 games. Atlanta was 4-6. There's a big separation there too. I expect Atlanta to push Philadelphia. I think these two teams are going to duke it out, just like we saw in the Seattle division. In the Central, we got Milwaukee's 28-21. Chicago's 27-23, 1.5 games behind. St. Louis is 23-26, 5 games behind. Milwaukee was 4-6 in their last 10 games. So was Chicago, 4-6. St. Louis jumped a few people by playing ball at 8-2 last 10 games. So they're starting to make a move. Maybe they can make a little noise. I'm not sure. Milwaukee and Chicago are loaded. National League West. The Dodgers are 33-19. San Diego is 26-26. They're 7 games behind. Zona, Daniel, 24-26. They're 8 games behind.
Yeah.
Now, LA was 6-4 in their last 10 games, and so was Arizona. So they kept pace. San Diego 5-5. Listen, these teams have got to play a lot better ball, including San Francisco, who's not even in the hunt, are going to get. If they're going to catch LA. I mean, they just got to play better ball. That's all. The American League, we got Salvador Perez of Kansas City leading the league at 357. Jeremy Pena from Houston is hitting 326. Juan Soto of the Yankees is hitting 313. Kyle Tucker of Houston is leading the league with 17 home runs. Ramirez from Cleveland, who is a perennial, annual MVP character every year, and he doesn't get the recognition. He's got 45 RBIs. Seth Lugo of Kansas City leads the league with 7 wins. He's also leading with ERA of 1.79. Tough guy to hit.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Glass of Cleveland has 15 saves, leading the league. The guy that I mentioned the last 3 weeks, Clay Holmes from New York, he was leading the league with saves, and he also had a 0 ERA. Well, Clay woke up last week, and he couldn't pitch. He's only still got the same 13 saves. His ERA is 1.74. Not shabby, but he did get hit last week. The National League, Otani LA is leading the league at 354. Jurickson Profar of San Diego hitting 339. William Contreras of Milwaukee hitting 333. Marcell Ozuna of Atlanta's got 15 home runs. Otani has got 13 home runs. Ozuna's got 46 RBIs. They lead everyone. Otani has 70 hits that leads the league. Otani, I'm not sure that they're going to let this guy pitch, Daniel. I'm really, they're probably going to talk about it all so long. They need him. They need his bat more than they do his arm, in my opinion. That's all. Ranger Suarez from Philadelphia got 9 wins. Chris Sale from Atlanta's got 7 wins. Suarez has got a 1.36 ERA. Ryan Hemsley from St. Louis has got 16 saves. Ranger Suarez is a story here. Look, Philadelphia's got Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, 2 of the best throwers around. They both got big ticket contracts, and all of a sudden pops up Ranger Suarez, and that's why Philadelphia is leading the National League with a 3.17 ERA. That shows you the proof in the pudding. They're also leading the league with team batting average of 258. On the flip side, this is a surprise. The Yankees are leading the league with a 2.92 ERA, and that's without Garrett Cole. Now, this is another surprise. Houston is leading the league hitting at 264. They're a sleeping giant. They're going to come through. That's it, buddy.
Yeah, it's definitely, looking at the league and how things are shaking out. I find it interesting that every time we talk about this stuff, we're living in this world where the Arizona Diamondbacks are 2 games under 500. I think every time we've talked about this, they were 23-25, 24-26, 18-20, 20-22. They seem to every week be 2 games under 500. However, when you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks recently here, give credit where credit's due. And, the Arizona Diamondbacks are putting themselves in a position right now where, there are some head-scratching games and there's some games where they give up a ton of runs. But currently in the series that they have right now, with the Dodgers most recently, they defeated the Dodgers in the series 2-1, and they were on the road in LA. They beat them 6-0 and 7-3, and in the game that they lost 6-4. So overall, they scored 19 runs to the 7 that they allowed to the Dodgers, winning that series. And that comes after they lost the series against the Tigers. They won a series against the Reds. They lost a series to the Orioles. They played the Reds before that again, won that series 3-0. But, we see them do what they do against the Dodgers and get these victories against the Dodgers, but then they've gone and struggled against the Padres and some of these other teams. So it's just, and the Padres are a little bit ahead of them right now. So, the Diamondbacks have been kind of enigma, right? They've been that team that can beat the teams that have the spotlight. But then they've also struggled in moments. And, Corbin Carroll, he's starting to shape up here. We're seeing more from Corbin Carroll and his successes, which has been huge. And so, I want to give credit to him as well. Corbin Carroll has done some good things recently, and seeing him get some triples and whatnot. Ketel Marte continues to impress. And, the Bats, they woke up to start the season. They had almost 20 runs in the first game to start the season. But then they go quiet, and then they wake up again. And now we're just looking for some consistency with Arizona. So the question that I have for you, PJ, I got a few of them. But one of them is, what do you think about Arizona as of right now?
Well, Daniel, you got to hit and you got to pitch in this league. You can't do one without the other. Unfortunately for Arizona, their team ERA is 4.38. That's not going to win anything.
Yeah.
And their team batting average is 247, which is in the middle. The 4.38 ERA is almost the worst in the league right there. And Corbin Carroll is still not hitting. He's still hitting below the Mendoza line. You know what I mean by the Mendoza line?
Yeah, hitting below average.
Below 200.
Yeah.
Mendoza was a major league player for years, but he never could hit more than 200 because he couldn't hit, but he could field. So he hung around, and they turned the coin after him. Well, if you're hitting below 200, you're hitting below the Mendoza line. So anyway, that's just something. But anyway, Corbin Carroll's got to do a lot better. He's still leading off. I seem to think that if they want to save the kid, he's going to hit his way out of it. I'm sure of it. But I think they need to move him down the order a little bit, make someone else come up there. You need to score runs. And if Corbin is not on base and he's not hitting at a sub 200, you're not going to score any runs. So my opinion would be for the hierarchy of Arizona to move him down on the order, maybe all the way down on the order, maybe 6, 7, or 8, so he can get his footing again and get comfortable and get confident in how he's hitting. Because he's a superb player, no question about that. They're going to have to shuffle their lineup around because right now they're not doing it. And with the ERA is the 4.38, they're going to have to win a lot of games 9-7 and 10-8. That's not going to help them either.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, they got to figure it out, and they have to create consistency. Like you said, having moments is great, but you have to build that consistency in order to move forward in the right fashion. I mean, like I said, from week to week, there are a couple games under 500. That's happened at least 3 times that I can remember here this season in our conversations. But to look at Major League Baseball overall, PJ, and to see where the Phillies are at, they continue to stay hot. They're 36-14. They have the most wins of any team in Major League Baseball of the 30 franchises, not just the National League, but in the National and American combined. Nobody has as many wins as they have, and nobody has as few losses. They are the keeper of the best record of 30 franchises at 36-14. Are the Phillies for real, in your opinion?
They certainly are. And, I'm big on statistics. This one I gave you Arizona statistics. If you look at Philadelphia statistics, they lead the league with a batting average of .258. They also lead the league in ERA of 3.17. You got to hit, you got to pitch. Now, with Suarez, if he's as good as I think he's going to be, and he joins Wheeler and Nola, those are 3 top-line pitchers. So if you come in for a 3 or 4 game series against Philly, well, you better strap your jock up because these guys will blow you away. I look for Philly to hang in there. Atlanta's been a big disappointment to me. I know Ozuna can hit the heck out of the ball. Someone got hurt. I can't remember which one it was. Matt Olson's not hitting the ball as well as he did last year either. So Atlanta needs to pick it up too if they want to stay with Philadelphia. Philadelphia's for real, Daniel. They sure are.
Well, and when you look at the American League, right, if Philly's the keeper of the best record in the National League and of all of the 30 franchises, when you look at the American League, we've talked about for years that the East Division in the American has been really difficult, especially over these last few seasons. The Yankees are currently in first place, followed by the Orioles, the Red Sox, the Rays, and the Jays. What's impressed you about the New York Yankees, and do you believe the Yankees are for real? And then, so are the Yankees for real? What's impressed you is that part 1 of the question. Part 2 is in the Central Division, the Guardians, at the time we're talking, they're 33-17. The Yankees are 34-17. So are the Yankees for real? What impresses you about them? That's the first part. Second part of the question, with the Guardians right there with the Yankees, so close to having the best record in the American League above the Yankees, are the Guardians for real?
Oh, boy. Good questions. The Yankees surprised me. They're still surprising me because they're leading the league in ERA at 2.92. I did not see this coming. When you're going to tell me at the beginning of the season that Garrett Cole, their number 1 pitcher, and probably the best pitcher in all of the American League, will be out for extended time, I mean, you can see the faces drop. I mean, no one expected New York to pitch as well in his absence. They got a bunch of relievers that are throwing really well. They got some starters that are going 5-6 innings. That's enough. If you can turn a game after 5 innings, if you can turn a game over your relievers and do as well as the Yankees are doing, you got a good shot. I think Baltimore's probably going to be with them the whole time. Boston, Tampa, and Toronto are gone. They're way too far back. And New York and Baltimore are just too good to try to catch up on. Now, the second part of your question is Cleveland, are they for real? In my opinion, in this division, I like Kansas City and have for the last couple of months. I like them because they have a better pitching staff and they hit better. And they got probably one of the best super young players in baseball, Bobby Witt Jr. They're only 1.5 games behind Cleveland. And to show you how good they are as opposed to the rest of the league, the rest of their division, Cleveland was 9-1 in their last 10 games, and KC was 8-2, and they're battling it out. Minnesota's 6.5 back. The others are far back. It's between these two, and I like Kansas City in this particular matchup.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'll see how things shake out here and how they go. The final question that I have for you. And Jerry is a big-time Phillies fan, and he's listening to our content. Jerry Hart has been supporting me. He was a member of Marywood Security when I was at Marywood University, and just one of the people that you could go to for so many things. He was there for advice. He was there to help. He's just a good human being. So yes, he had a job to do, but he went well beyond his job in how he, tried to take care of all of us on campus and continues to support. Jerry was with me at the beginning of my career in 2003 with MU Courtside and being on the radio at Marywood, and continues to be there for me. He's listening this morning, PJ, and he very nicely said, "Love you, Papa Joe."
Well, thank you. Philadelphia didn't figure to be this good this year because they traded away Reese Hopkins, who I thought was a super player and one of the best players in the league. I don't know why. I think maybe he just signed a free agent. I can't remember what happened. But with Harper and Hopkins hitting 3 and 4 or 4 and 3, whichever way I want to put them, they were murderers row. And I'm surprised that Philadelphia's batting average is as good as it is without Hopkins. So Harper's going to be asked to carry him. But thank you for your advice.
Yeah, and PJ, my final note here would be, who's the biggest surprise for you in the not so good? Who's the team that you thought would be performing better right now, with everything that's gone on, be it injury, be it guys getting healthy, guys coming back, guys coming up, guys that were called up and whatnot. I mean, Paul Skeens, we're seeing what he's doing since he's been called up with the Pittsburgh Pirates, but their record's 23-27. They're fourth in the NL Central. Is there a team that has under-impressed you based on what you thought they would do?
Absolutely. It's Houston.
Okay.
There's no doubt in my mind. Houston, even though they're leading the league in batting at 264, and they should, with Altuve and Bregman and Tucker and Alfonso. I mean, these guys are murderers row themselves. The problem I have with Houston is their pitching. But the last 10 games, they were 7-3. They're starting to come up in the division. Houston will make some noise. I feel certain, but they have been a major disappointment, and I think their pitching is really falling apart. I know that Justin Verlander, I think, tried to pitch the other day, and he didn't do too well. So I think it's Houston's having some serious problems.
Yeah, I mean, Houston truly has a problem. PJ, before we get out of here, I do want to hit a couple NFL things because I had some polls that went up last week and they finished up. Which of these four quarterbacks? I'm going to read the polls that we had here, and then I'm going to get your thoughts on each of these three. So, again, we put polls up all the time. I put them up on X at CallDT. That's CALLDT. So join us on X, the former Twitter. Click follow and vote in our polls all throughout the year. That's at CallDT, CALLDT. Which of these four rookie quarterbacks would you rather have lead your team? Your choices were Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. Almost 50% of you that voted picked Jaden Daniels, which I agree with. I have him projected as having the best rookie season of the rookies that we saw, 6 of them going in the top 12 picks for the first time ever in NFL draft history. Jaden won this poll 48.4%. Caleb Williams 22.6%. J.J. McCarthy 19.4%. And Drake May only got 9.7% for the third overall pick. So keep that in your feather cap there, PJ, for that one. The next one is, of these NFL quarterbacks, who would you choose to lead you right now in this moment? Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, or Josh Allen? Half of the votes that came in, 50% chose Joe Burrow. 28.6% chose Josh Allen. 14.3% chose Jared Goff, who's now the second highest paid quarterback annually in the NFL behind Joe Burrow. And 7.1% chose Brock Purdy, who advanced to the Super Bowl this past season. So a little surprising that he only got that. And then I said, which AFC South quarterback would you pick to lead your team right now for the 2024-25 season? C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. 39.1% of you chose C.J. Stroud. 37% of you chose Trevor Lawrence. 19.6% chose Will Levis. And very surprisingly, and maybe it's because he's coming off of injury, a mere 4.3% chose the go-gator Anthony Richardson. So PJ, with Jaden Daniels winning the poll for rookies, and so seeing Jaden Daniels win the poll for rookies, and then seeing Joe Burrow win the poll of guys that have been in the league for a little while, and then the AFC South C.J. Stroud wins it, and Anthony Richardson gets almost no percent, 4.3%. What are your thoughts on the polls that we put up on X for these quarterbacks?
Well, they're interesting. The Jaden Daniels one fooled me. I'm not a running quarterback kind of guy. You know that. So does the listeners. With that being said, I like Drake May more than I do Jaden Daniels. Daniels is a superb athlete. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a marvelous athlete, and he may run all over the place and pass all over the place. He certainly has the credentials to do that. But I like Drake May because he's a professional quarterback, drop back kind of guy, strong guy, big arm, and I like his chances. As for your second poll, that's a good one too, but it seems like Joe Burrow stands out a little bit more than Purdy. I don't know why Purdy didn't get more votes than that. I mean, the guy is a Super Bowl quarterback. So with that, in talking about that group right there, I think I'd have to stay with Burrow. Now, the third part. Oh, you're going to kill me, Daniel. You are going to kill me. This one's hard for me to say, but unfortunately, I like C.J. Stroud better than I do right now than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think he fits the offense over there. I'm not sure the head coach is the one for them, but he's got a hell of an offensive coordinator over there. So this kid, he surprised me after the first 3 weeks of the season. And then the more we talked about him, the more I used about him. I mean, he's got it all. He's smart. He's just smart. And to have that kind of talent and be that smart is a godsend.
Yeah, I mean, C.J. Stroud, I mean, I don't deny it. Yeah, C.J. Stroud, his cards are worth money. His autograph is worth money. He is worth a lot to the Houston Texans. It seems like they, to start off his rookie season and go to the playoffs and blow out the Browns, it definitely, and the Browns were hot, right? They won double-digit games this season. They played 5 different quarterbacks and found success. I don't know if there's ever been a time in NFL history where a team's made it to the playoffs playing 5 different starting quarterbacks, but, Houston took care of them with ease. So, you got your offensive rookie of the year in C.J. Stroud, your defensive rookie of the year in Will Anderson Jr., the 2 and 3 overall pick of 2023. So obviously Houston made some good decisions. DeMeco Ryans has been good in his first year as a head coach. We'll see what the second year brings for those 2 guys, the rookies, as well as for DeMeco Ryans, the head coach. And, does Stephon Diggs give or taketh away? Nico Collins, hopefully Tank Dell will be okay. God bless to him and all of his loved ones and everything. And, hoping to see what this is going to be. Joe Mixon is going to be with C.J. Stroud now instead of Joe Burrow for the first time in his career, not being a Cincinnati Bengal. I mean, this is... They re-signed Dalton Schultz, who I can't believe the Cowboys let go a couple of years ago. So Houston's going to be a terror. They're going to be a threat. They're going to be a threat to the NFL, not just the AFC South. So I do agree that C.J. Stroud over Trevor Lawrence does make sense. I'm surprised that Anthony Richardson only got 4.3%, but maybe again he's coming off of injury. We didn't get to see him in a lot of games in the NFL. He got hurt at the beginning of his rookie season, so we'll see what it looks like now. Gardner Minshew isn't there anymore. Joe Flacco, I believe, has been brought into town, so we'll see what this looks like for Anthony Richardson moving forward, but he does have some talent there that's going to help him out. PJ, as always, I appreciate the time. The next time that you see me, we will be in Florida together, and as always, I appreciate all that you bring to the table. I love having you every Thursday. And I want to let everybody know that with the exclusive stuff that we have here, the exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Des Moines College, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, Binghamton University, and having our exclusive studio partner in Heritage Hill, I also have the exclusive rights to the one and only Papa Joe.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple days then.
Sounds good. Love you all. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you. That coming from Papa Joe here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take our final step aside from the Heritage Hill Studios and round out the show right after this. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the tastes of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here for you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time and beyond that, like we did here today, giving you more than 2 hours. So happy to have you here and so grateful to be here inside the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill out in Pompey at the Brew House, and they're on Sweet Road, and then Sweetheart Corner for Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. We will be at Heritage Hill North tonight. That is May 23rd at 6 p.m. as we continue our CNS North Stars Showcase, our monthly spotlight broadcast with CNS on-site, on location at Heritage Hill North continues tonight, May 23rd at 6 p.m. when I welcome the CNS North Stars girls flag football team in their first season of existence, which is a true honor for me. So very much looking forward to that. Big time thanks to all my guests here today inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Dave Pasiak talking about the NBA Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And, of course, celebrating Darius Kelly, Syracuse and NFL defensive back alum and native of Arizona from Sierra Vista, who is now your new head coach at the Saguaro High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. So excited for the team there, the Saguaro Sabercats, and that Darius Kelly, a good friend of mine, has the opportunity to lead that program. Saguaro, you got a great one, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. And, of course, the incomparable, wonderful, very loving, passionate about sports and passionate about God and life, Papa Joe. Big time shout out to PJ and our conversation on the NCAA, horse racing, PGA, Major League Baseball, and the NFL. You can find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube.com and Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, as well as on WakeUpCallDT.com. And, of course, you can also find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we just added a bunch of specials by going to these podcasting platforms: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And, of course, you can visit our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York by going to Heritage Hill Brew House out in Pompey, Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street, North Syracuse, New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, Mother's Cupboard, and, of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Dolphins here during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and always excited to have AD and DT, my specials with Athletics Director Bob Beretta, and of course myself getting to be there with Bob throughout each month. Always look forward to that. And the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You could find all of that content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can find the playlist there as well for Lemoyne College. And you could find the Dolphins by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as underneath the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Welcome to the Finn family. Nick DiPillo and Finn's Way Up. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton Syracuse Bobcats. Always appreciate all that we get to do with the Bobcats and what we like to call the Bobcat Buzz. And you will find your Bobcats every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, telling the stories of student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year. You can find the Bobcat Buzz specials on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Men's and women's basketball, men's and women's soccer, baseball, and esports, all there, including our conversations with the director of the Syracuse campuses, Mary Hawkins, and there's 2 campuses for Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse on James Street in Syracuse and right off of Route 57 in Liverpool, right across the street from Avicoli's, in a fantastic new building that was built over the last few years. So the history of Bryan and Stratton on James Street and the expansion to Route 57 in Liverpool, New York. Find all of our content, including our BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats in 2 places on wakeupcalldt.com on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Within that Bearcat Time each month, you'll find our specials, which include Moments with Marshall, featuring Binghamton University Athletics Director Gene Marshall, and our Bearcat Break Room with stories from student athletes, coaches, and administration. Get your Bobcats on youtube.com, Bearcats on youtube.com/your Bearcats, your Bobcats, and your Dolphins. Get your Bearcats on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll also find the Bearcats in 2 places on wakeupcalldt.com on the homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, thanks once again to Dave, Darius, and Papa Joe. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. Exclusive breaking news happening this morning, and the exclusive first story to that going out to the world on wakeupcalldt.com. Go and check out my story on Nick DiPillo. And once again, thanks to Lemoyne College and their assistance with the article and telling the story. Big time congratulations to the women's basketball program for Lemoyne College and Nick DiPillo. From the Heritage Hill Studios, I will see you tonight in 2 locations. I'll see you first at 6 p.m. tonight, May 23rd, at Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, celebrating the CNS North Stars girls flag football team at 6 p.m. And then I will see you over at GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night. It starts at 6:30, so obviously I'll get there a little bit later. But from 6:30 to 9:30 on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. So see you at Heritage Hill at 6, and then see you after at GG Cards and Breaks Trade Night. In the meantime, have a beautiful day, folks. I appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you, Jerry, for the love. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you to everybody that watched and listened. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you enough. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be safe. God bless. No stress. Do your best. This is Wake Up Call from the Heritage Hill Studios, and you